Okay, I'd like to talk. We'll talk a little more about strategy, wake riding at some point when we have another boat to show you firsthand how you can save a little bit of your paddling energy by using the wake or wave that's come off the other boat. But what I want to talk about now a little bit is nutrition, and we talked a little bit about how protein and fat are a little bit harder to break down. So you want to do more of the carbohydrate, the long chain stuff, and just doing a little commercial for Hammer Nutrition. But there's a lot of other companies that have these maltodextrin, which is a long chain type carbohydrate that your body takes longer to process. It says consume 1 to 2 servings per hour is needed. That's probably a little bit high, but this is in a gel. It's easy to rip, so if you tape the top of this to the boat and let this dangle, you can twist this and grab it, and it'll come off, leaving this on the boat. And then you can see it's just a clear, well, it's not a clear gel. This is raspberry, and you suck that in, and I roll this up. I don't want you litter, so put this somewhere where it's not going to. Your pit crew can pick it up. But it's always important to drink a little bit of water. So, we a lot of times use a water hose, a food safe vinyl or silicone hose. Silicone's probably better. Actually, I tend to convert to that. But anyways, with the Velcro, you can stick it to the side of the boat. Make sure it doesn't siphon on the bottom, where you can put it on a neck strap with the opposite Velcro, and you just take a drink and suck in your drink. You have to decide what works best for you. Hammer Nutrition also has a thing called Heed, something else called Perpetuum. Heed's for like a 2-hour event. Perpetuum is for something longer. Perpetuum has a little bit of protein, so it kind of gives you a balanced, almost like a meal, where Heed is a little more fast energy. So either one, depending on the length of the race. So I'm drinking Heed. And of course, you want to make sure your hose gets cleaned or rinsed every time, or you end up with some humongous fungus in there. This one's actually not that clean, but I did put Clorox, soaked it in Clorox water for about 15 minutes and rinsed it, so at least it's disinfected. But be careful you keep this clean, because you don't want to get yourself sick. So drinking after, especially a power gel, which is concentrated sugar, make sure you drink a little bit of water along with that. Since it does interrupt your paddling a lot of times, if you're got this, a lot of times what I'll do is make sure you're on a good wake ride. If you are, tell your partner, hey, I'm going to get a drink at some point, and give your partner a couple hard strokes, and then take the drink. That's a good warning to him. Plus, you maybe move up 6 inches on the team, so because he's going to be paddling by himself for a stroke or two. Think about your partner who's going to be, without you having your paddle in the water for a stroke, he's going to have a lot more stress on his arms. So start out with a couple of hard strokes. And I usually like to keep my drink in my mouth for I get a couple, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then drink slowly. And you maybe do 7 or 8 swallows in that minute period. Let your body absorb it, so you don't take too much and get sick. Good idea. Blow it out, and then you can stick it there. It's out of your way, and you're good till you need another drink. Now, when do you drink? Well, you don't want to drink too much, because that can deplete your electrolytes. Even if you're drinking a drink like this, too much of anything will make you sick. So my Uncle Richard, he gave me some tricks. One is, if you feel like your skin on your hands are kind of hurting when you paddle, that means you're going to start possibly getting a blister. And a lot of times blisters are just caused by dehydration. So if your skin feels a little bit, got some tender spots, that's probably a sign that you're not drinking enough. So at that point, you almost are a little dehydrated. So take a couple sips, And a lot of times you don't want to get a blister. So a lot of times you can, if you wipe your hand on your nose or your forehead just a little bit, that'll put enough grease from your face on your hands to help lubricate them to keep you from getting blisters. I rarely get blisters, and I think one of the reasons why I pay attention to my hands. If your hands feel like they're getting a blister, that means dehydration, or you're gripping your paddle too hard. Another thing that can cause blisters or problems if you get your hands wet continually, that tends to cause blisters. So if there's any way possible, make sure that your hands aren't continually wet. Hold up on your paddle a little bit, or try not to splash so your hands aren't continually wet. So that's one way to, realize you're dehydrated. Obviously, if you're thirsty, you're going to want to take a little sip, or you just maybe feel a little sluggish, take a little drink. But be careful you're not consuming much more than half or 1 liter an hour. Is probably the most anybody really needs. Of course, it depends on how big you are, the temperature. But if you're drinking like a gallon an hour, that's probably too much. I guarantee a gallon an hour is almost in every case too much to take in. So you want to find that right balance, not too much but not too little. And the dilution of your drink is important too. If it's chilly, like a 50 degree most of the day, you can afford to have a little more nutrition in your drink. Perpetuum, let's say, maybe use the recommended number of scoops per liquid. But if it's a hotter day in the 80s, 90s, you're better off with a lighter concentration, because your body needs, I think, more of the water to help with cooling. That's what I found. And you might want to also add some electrolytes. Amber has a thing called fizz. I put a fizz tablet in my drink because I knew it was going to be hot. So I wanted to have a little more electrolytes. There's other products by Hammer called anti-fatigue capsules that help get the lactic acid out of your muscles as you're paddling. I think it's more of a comfort thing, but I've used that. I put in something called Endurolytes, which I can't remember what that is. It's some kind of amino acid that helps your cells function. Another thing you can do before a race is a race day boost, which is sort of some kind of a salt type ingredient that sort of makes your body absorb more water. Now, generally, that means that it'll make you very regular, right? It's almost can have a laxative effect, but the race day boost does seem to work. It sort of gives your body a little higher water concentration, and it just helps you prepare. So 3 days before, if you want to try the race day boost, I would use that as well. I'm trying to think, there's a couple other supplements that don't really work for me. A thing called Surge that's supposed to give you a boost, but it doesn't really help for me that much. Before a race, I'm kind of a caffeine person, so I like a couple cups of coffee. I find, especially for shorter races, 2 or 3 cups of coffee, small cups like 8 ounces, 2 large cups, or even just 1 big McDonald's coffee, it does make a difference. It helps you loose during the first part of the race. But for a long race, you got to realize you can't just go to the bathroom anytime you want to. A lot of these 90 miler has portages, so you run out through the bushes. If you're a male, we use a technique where you can hold your paddle on your lap, and you can go to the bathroom that way. Just arc it over the side. You have to do number 2. Believe it or not, in a C2, if your one partner leans to one side and you see your butt over the other, you can actually do a number 2 over the butt. It's best actually to do that on a portage, or even after the portage, jump in the water. Sometimes the cold water will help you go. Sometimes you have to pee, but you can't pee because your muscles are too tense. So even if you could arc it over the side, you can't because your muscles are tense. Sometimes, matter of fact, I probably recommend, as far as peeing, is after every portage, if you can, maybe before the portage, jump in, and everybody relieves themselves. It's not very pleasant to pee in the boat, although we do that more often, I'd like to admit, where you just pee yourself and it goes to the bottom, and then your bailer bails it out. Again, that gets kind of gross, especially if you're sitting in your pee the rest of the race. And if you don't have the proper lubricant or skin protectant on your privates, you end up with diaper rash. That's no fun. So, something else, anything longer than about 3 hours, you're going to want to coat your butt private area with Vaseline works, A&D ointment. Actually, A&D ointment is probably the best. It's diaper rash ointment, either the white stuff or the clear stuff or the amber stuff. Either one, make sure you coat yourself. It also helps lubricate your butt a little bit. It helps prevent your butt from getting sore. But again, if you have to relieve yourself, even if you're in the water, you'll keep that urine from on your skin and you'll end up with some kind of rash. So that's another tip. Another thing, if you need something more solid, we've been doing well with these power bars. You know, they generally have a faster sugar, but there's probably better things you can eat, but it has the right consistency to you can bite it, chew it, and it's fairly digestible, but the